You guys, it's already the first week of September and we never did an August wrap-up. Last month we didn't read as much as we normally do, so we thought today we would combine our August wrap-up with our September TBR. So not only are we going to talk about all the books we read last month, but we'll also talk about all the books we want to read this month.
I just keep having really bad reading months. I don't know what's happening. I started the year off so strong and now I just constantly find myself in a slump. I keep reading 3-star books. Every now and then I'll get a 4, but I don't know, August was rough for me.
Maybe you went so hard at the beginning of the year that now it's just balancing it out.
Yeah. I only read 5 books. You read 6, so you start us off.
I'm gonna start off with a book I actually really enjoyed, and it was The Counselors by Jessica Goodman. This was the perfect summer read. In this book, we're following Goldie. Her and her 2 best friends are camp counselors this year. When a body is found on camp grounds, Goldie knows this couldn't have been an accident, so she decides to investigate it herself. I absolutely loved this book. It was so easy to binge. It was fast-paced. I was hooked into the mystery. I didn't predict the ending, and I just really love the camp counselor setting and vibes. I'm really happy I like this one because we do have another book by this author, so I cannot wait to read that. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I do highly recommend.
I'll start off with one that I liked. It is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I can't believe it took me so long to read this book. Now that I've read it, I definitely understand the hype around it. It was just such a cute YA romance, and sometimes I find myself not loving YA romance just because I feel like I'm a little too old for that, but I never felt that way once in this book. I felt like all of these characters were my friends and I was just seeing them live their life. It was so cute. There was like prom and prom dress shopping, and our main girlie is just trying to figure out what boy she likes. It was also kind of sad though because our main character did lose her mom, and so every time she would bring that up I found myself really tearing up. So I like that there were so many giddy moments, but then there was also some serious moments that really just made me cry. I am glad that there's another book. I think the next book is going to follow these kids going to college, so I'm interested to see where they're at with that. I ended up giving this one 4 stars though, so definitely recommend.
The next book I have is The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth. I was really excited for this because I've been loving the Sally Hepworth books that I've read. This one, however, I didn't love. I thought it was going to be a mystery thriller, and this one was definitely more focused on this family and their trauma. And that's okay, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be going into it. There was a mystery as a subplot, it just didn't feel like that was the main focus of this book. Because of that, the plot kind of felt a little all over the place for me, so I didn't love it. I think I maybe gave it 3 stars, but it's my least favorite Sally Hepworth book that I've read so far.
The next one I have is The Therapist by B.A. Paris. I have read Behind Closed Doors by this author and I really liked that one, so I'm a little disappointed because I didn't love this one. It was one of those books where I was just ready for it to be over. Felt like things were just dragging out. Our main character ends up moving into the apartment of a girl who was murdered and she was a therapist, so the main girl's just trying to figure out what happened to that girl. There's all these weird neighbors and her boyfriend's acting really weird. Just everybody is acting so weird and she's just trying to get down to the bottom of it. I did not see the ending coming. I think it was a good ending, but I also wasn't shocked. So I gave it 3 stars. I think I would have given it even less stars if I didn't like the ending, but it was a solid read. I was just expecting more.
The next book I read was The Uglies by Scott Westerfield. I can't believe it took me so long to read this book. This is a YA dystopian. In this world, everyone is born what they call ugly, and they're not able to turn pretty until they turn 16 years old. I honestly love this one. You guys know I love YA dystopian stories. This one was no different. I read it right now because I know that the Netflix movie adaptation is coming out soon. So now that I've read it, I cannot wait to see that. Overall, I love the concept. I love the message. I do own a couple other books in this series, so after I watch the movie adaptation, I'm sure I'm going to want to continue on with the book series.
The next one I have is The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. This one was so cute. It is my new favorite Catherine Center book. I did read The Bodyguard by her, but I think this one was just a little better. Such a cute, grumpy sunshine romance. I loved that there was also the Hollywood setting. They are both screenwriters, so I did like that part of the book as well. And I could see this whole book being played out as a movie. So I hope it gets the opportunity to become one. But yeah, I loved it. I gave it 4 stars, and I'll definitely be reading more from Catherine Center.
Up next is a book we both ended up reading this month, and it is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I feel like we wanted to read this because we had been hearing such good things about it. So I don't think it was initially on our TBR for August, but it's interesting because we had different takeaways from this book.
Okay, here's my problem. I was already in a really bad slump, so I needed a banger to get me out of it, and I think this one took a while because the ending was crazy. I did like the ending. I didn't see anything coming, but by that point I was just so ready to move on. I was already in a slump.
But also, I think going into this, we thought it was going to be a mystery thriller. That was our own fault though, because it clearly is listed as a literary fiction. And now knowing that, it makes a lot more sense. Because me too, initially when I went into this book, I thought it was just going to be a normal mystery thriller. And I did think the pacing was strange for that. In this story, we are following a wealthy family. They own this campsite. And basically, a camper goes missing. What's interesting though is that it is this family's daughter. And 15 years in the past, their son disappeared in a very similar way. So that's the initial setup of this story, but we are very focused and following a bunch of different people. I was shocked at how many different POVs we got.
I think that's where I really struggled in the beginning, because I was like, okay, I don't know what's happening. I don't know who's who. So I think that's where it started for me to just kind of be like, oh, I'm ready to read something else.
It was kind of overwhelming because we're following the campers, every person in the family. There's 2 different timelines, so we're jumping back and forth. It was a lot, but I honestly really enjoyed it. Now knowing it's a literary fiction, I appreciate it a lot more because it is a little bit slower paced. It's very character driven, but I loved the way that they wrapped everything up at the end. This is what I'm going to be thinking about for the rest of the year.
Okay, the next one we have is our Literal Besties Book Club book for August, and it was Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Murr. This one is a fantasy romance, and our main girlie ends up working for the villain of the town. This was a fast-paced and easy read. There was a little bit of a mystery and a little bit of a romance, but I don't know, I was just expecting a little bit more.
Something about the delivery, I get they were trying to make it like humorous and everything, but it just kind of felt weird. I don't know.
It was a solid read, definitely not our favorite, and we could tell a lot of you guys felt the same too because the reviews were all over the place.
Yeah.
There was some 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, so I don't know, I thought it was solid, just expecting more.
And the last book I read in August was the last book in the Zodiac Academy series by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. This one was Restless Stars, book 9, but it was technically book 11. It took me 2 years, over 2 years to finish the series, but I'm so glad I finally did. Because this is the last book in the series, it's basically 900 pages of nonstop action. This wasn't my favorite book in the series, but as a whole, I really did love it. It's dark, it's twisty, it's muddy, there's magic, it's heart-wrenching. I love the character development. Finishing the series has been a huge accomplishment for me, so I can't wait to read some of their other series now. I ended up giving this book a 3.5, but as a whole series, I'm gonna give it a 4.
So those are all of the books that we read in August. Now we're gonna get into the books that we want to read in September. September is the first month of fall, so we do have some fall books here that we have on our fall TBR, but we are going to put out an entire fall TBR and Rex video as well. So first up, I have Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli. I have just heard so many great things about this book, and romanticies just always scream fall to me. This one says her deadliest enemy or her greatest love. Enemies to lovers doesn't get more high stakes than a witch and a witch hunter falling in love. I think I need a good fantasy right now because I've been reading a lot of romances and mystery thrillers, so I'm hoping something like this can really get me out of that slump that I'm in right now.
First book on my September TBR is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. It's been a long time coming. I do intend to read this book. If anything, I'm going to try to have it be the first book I read this month. This is the one that has that school for girls, and there was murders that happened there years ago, and now they're back on site trying to film a movie about it, and creepy stuff starts to happen. I've been wanting to read more horror, especially during the fall time, so I think this one will be a perfect one to kick it off. I've had this book on my physical TBR for years now, though, so I'm so excited to finally read it.
The next one I have is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I'm so sick and tired of seeing it on my TBR shelf, and I need to read it already, and I hope I really do like it. I know a lot of people say you gotta read Caraval first, but I don't want to do that. I want to just jump right into this, and then if I like it, then I'll read Caraval. How far would you go for happily ever after? For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in true love and happy endings, until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding and to heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing.
Red flag. I'll help you if you give me a kiss. Like, ew! I'd be like, never mind.
He's like, where's my hug at?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope I like that. But I know this is a heavily loved series, so I'm hoping I'll feel the same way too.
The next one I have is Dreadful by Caitlin Rizakis. This one I'm really excited for. It says on the front it's going to be a comedic fantasy, and something about that intrigues me. In this one, I know the main character wakes up in this wizard's castle and realizes that he himself is the evil wizard. He has no memory of who he is or where he's at or what his plans were, so he's just trying to figure it out as it goes along. This one just sounds really funny, and I'm hoping this is like a cozy fantasy I can get behind. I just think this one will be the perfect September book and it'll get me in the mood for spooky season.
The next one I have is The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. This just screams fall to me. We absolutely love the Fable duology by this author, and I know you really liked this book too. I don't remember too much of what it's about though, so I think I just kind of want to jump into it not knowing much. My track record with Adrienne Young is pretty good though, so hopefully it can continue.
The next book I have is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I believe this is a darker romance, so I'm a little bit scared. I know our two main characters end up in this madman's basement, and I don't know if they have to work together to get out or just form a connection while they're there, but I'm a little bit scared. I hope it's not too intense. I've heard good things about it. That's why I want to give it a read, but it's been a while since I've read a darker romance, so I'm hoping I love this one.
The next one I have is Neon Gods by Katie Roberts. This is another one I've had for way too long, for years actually. So this is one I need to read or it's getting kicked off my TBR shelf. The top says he was supposed to be a myth, but from the moment I crossed the river and fell under his dark spell, he was quite simply mine. It says it's a modern retelling of Hades and Persephone that's as sinful as it is sweet. So we'll see. This one we found in a little free library.
The next book I have is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. Amanda really loved this book last year and said it's the perfect one to read during spooky season, so I want to read it this month. The bottom says it's darkly seductive, a twisty modern-day fairy tale that is a gripping and terrifying journey. Readers will not be able to look away. I don't want to know anything about the plot. I remember it was like a couple sisters, I think, that went missing and no one knows what happened to them, so I cannot wait to read this. It also is like one of my favorite covers.
The next one I have is Gleanings by Neil Shusterman. I did read the entire Arc of Scythe trilogy, and now it's just this one that has a bunch of short stories revolving around this crazy world. I'm kind of sad to like completely end it though, but it's time.
A mystery thriller I have for September is When I'm Dead by Hannah Morrissey. This is the one where the medical examiner's daughter's best friend goes missing and then her daughter goes missing, so it sounds juicy. I cannot wait to see what happened. I've been loving mystery thrillers this year, so I hope I love this one.
This is the only non-fantasy I have on my TBR, and it is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I think I got this in my last BookOutlet order. I just know that so many book girlies love this book. I think the cover is just giving fall to me. So in this one, our main character, Calla, is going back to her hometown because she has a very estranged relationship with her father. She finds out that her dad's days are numbered. While she struggles to adjust to this new environment, Jonah, the unkempt, obnoxious Alaskian pilot who helps keep her father's charter plane company operational, can't imagine calling anywhere else home.
Cute.
That is cute. Ooh, imagine dating a pilot. You can go anywhere.
I know, and he works for your dad.
Yeah.
They already have a good relationship.
Oh, this sounds cute. I can't wait to read this one. I think it's a series too.
I think small town romances would be good for fall time. Last book I have on my September TBR is Nightfall by Penelope Douglas. This is the last book in the Devil's Night series. My first read of this month was book 3 and I did not love it. So I'm kind of hesitant going into this last book, but I kind of want to just end the series off. I do also own the 2 novellas I'm supposed to read before and after this, so I would love to have this series finished by this month, but this one's the longest book. And like I said, I didn't love the 3rd book, so we'll see how this one goes.
So lastly, we have our blind books to pick. Y'all know we do this every single month. So we have our jar here.
We only have 4 books left for this year. We're picking for each other, as always. Let's see. Number 7 for you.
Number 1.
Oh gosh. Oh no, wait. I don't have.
You pull 1.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Every month I forget how it works. This is thick.
That is a thick
and
one.
it's
I'm sorry.
heavy.
I'm so
You go
sorry.
first.
Let's see. Ooh.
Okay.
13 by Steve Kavanagh. I have been wanting to read this one.
That sounds good.
And you know what? I didn't pick any mystery thrillers this month, so I can't escape them.
That one sounded good, I remember.
It does.
It's on the jury, right?
It says the serial killer isn't on trial, he's on the jury.
That's gonna be so good.
That
Don't
sounds
even
crazy.
read anymore.
That sounds crazy, yeah.
I don't have any guesses for what this one is.
I know, I forgot.
She's thick though.
Oh no.
What is this? I forgot I own this book. Okay, wait. This could be fun for September. Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Meyer Sane. I remember this used to be a Barnes & Noble book club pick or something. It says this is a tiny town where 17-year-old Gray spends her summers. It's the psychic capital of the world and the place where Alora, Gray's best friend, disappeared 6 months earlier. It's always like the best friend goes missing.
You're always reading ones like that.
What? But they're good. I read a lot with this plot recently, so hopefully this one sticks out. I'm actually really excited for this one. I think it fits well with my theme, and this will be good for right before spooky season.
These are actually not bad picks.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
So these are all of the books that we want to read in September. Here's to hoping September is a better reading month than August.
It will be. I could feel it.
Yeah.
We're already 1 week in. We haven't read anything yet, but I think with these book choices, this will make us ready for fall. Reminder, as always, to join our Literal Besties book club if you haven't already. That link will be in the description. And right now we're currently voting on what book we're going to read in September. So make sure to check that out. Also, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let us know what books you guys are going to read in September, and we will see you guys next time.
Did you miss us? Because we missed you.
They're like, y'all are gone.
I watched Beetlejuice, but I fell asleep so many times.
I was about to ask you if you want to watch it today. What do you mean you fell asleep? You suck.
I think I didn't like Beetlejuice himself.
No, you're not supposed to. He's like really gross.
Yeah, every time he came out, I was like, good night.
Okay, this was a YA dystopian story, and in this world, everyone is ugly.
Is that right?
Yeah, everyone's born ugly. That's like what they call it.
And there's a little cute frog who keeps putting up signs.
Since this was the finale of the series, it was 900 pages of basically...
I'm like, what? Basically what? Smut?
No. Okay,